So, continuing the interviews with the alumni of Aden College, I have another guest now here in Ottawa, Canada, and that is Farook-Aman. So, Farouk, welcome to this interview. Tell our viewers a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up in South Yemen?
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Dr. Case. I do appreciate this idea that you have. I thought it was a wonderful idea. Number one, of course, I was born in Aden, and I was brought up in the same area that you lived in, Mersaba Crater. And I went, of course, to Aden College. But prior to that, we went to the intermediate school, Ruzmate Intermediate School, and our principal was Hamid Khalifa, Allah yarhamah. And prior to that, it was Ibrahim Luqman. In Aden College, I stayed from 1960 to 1966, so part of 1966, before I went to England.
Okay, so you've finished 1966.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, who were your classmates? Do you remember some of them?
Oh yes, of course. The classes were divided. We had 90 students. The classes were divided A, B, C according to the last name. So Aman was in A, not necessarily brightest, but in class A. So we had Naguib Abdul Ghafoor, who was doing law in Birmingham. He did very well. In fact, he was the top student. But Naguib was met with an accident after that when he was already a lawyer, and he passed away.
And who else?
In Dubai. Yeah. And
other names?
Other names is Hussein Al-Alfi, Adel Al-Turki, Azzam Al-Adhal, Mahbub Abdul Sattar, Tawfiq Salam. These are the people that are, yes, of course, Ali Hussein Abdul Nabi. He became a pilot, a military pilot. He also, passed away quite early in age.
Okay. How about some of the teachers that you had at the time at Aden College?
I can remember Mr. Shalwan. He was teaching us biology. Chatterjee, he was teaching us something else.
Chemistry, I think.
Chemistry, yes. Somebody else was teaching us literature. He was a skinny guy, tall, Indian, but very precise. But Shalwan, I'll tell you an incident about Shalwan. I always forgot when he used to dissect the rabbit. I always forgot the nose, what was called scientifically. And I always asked him that. And one day his hands were full of blood, and he came and touched me from here. He said, it is called internal nares. Now he said, you will never forget that word. He was right.
Okay, so at the end of Aden College, then where did you go to university or college?
I went to London. It was a scholarship through the British, of course, through the Aden Electricity Corporation. At the time, it was 1966, excuse me. And I went to study what they call the Associate of the Chartered Institute of Secretaries and Administrators. It's a long name. In Canada, they call it Business Administration.
Yes.
And I stayed initially in Kingston, which is beside Croydon.
Yes. Kingston on Thames.
On Thames, that's right.
Right.
I stayed there for a few months and then went to West Ham, and from there I lived in Knightsbridge.
So you spent about, what, 3 or 4 years in England?
Yeah, 4 years. Yeah.
And
4 years and a few months.
And then back to Aden or what?
Yeah, I went back to Aden in September 1970, and I went straight to claim my job that I had been promised to at the Aden Electricity Corporation. Yeah.
And what was that?
It was the third person in line, but I was the secretary, so to speak, of the corporation, the legal secretary.
And so, how long did you stay in Aden before you eventually left? Because obviously you later left.
In 72, summer 72, we had what they call the 7 glorious days, السبعة المجيدة. And that is the time that I wanted to run away from Aden. But I was caught and I was held up in prison a few days. And I had people who helped me. One of them was Allah yarhamu, Abdulaziz Abdulwali. He helped me and got out. So, okay.
Okay.
I came back and claimed my job at the Ministry of Finance.
And from there, how did you get to Canada?
They made a mistake. They gave me, they made me in charge of the scholarships. And I nominated myself to a scholarship which had to go through a committee. And I took off.
Okay.
Never came back.
Took off for where?
I went first to Sudan. From Sudan, I went to Syria. I was supposed to do my master's at the Higher Institute of Statistics and Economics. It was through the United Nations. And from there, I went to Kuwait and then came to Canada.
All over the place. All right. When did you get to Canada? What year was that?
It was 1974.
Okay. So you're settled now in Canada. Of course, we've known each other for so many decades now, since we met first here in Canada.
When I came, my hair was dark, like some people, and now my hair and my beard is grayish.
Okay. How many children do you have?
I have 3, alhamdulillah. 2 boys and 1 girl. The oldest is 32 and the youngest is 24.
Any grandchildren?
No, none of them are married.
Okay.
I suppose if they get married, I'll have a few more gray hair.
So now, just finally looking back on your days at Aden College, do you have any happy memories or remarkable memories?
Well, there are lots of memories. In fact, happy memories actually more in London. And I wrote an article to that effect, and I called it the Glorious Days of Hans Crescent, where we stayed. As far as Aden College is concerned, there were a lot of happy memories. I can't remember any, but it's just a pleasure to think of some of the people that I had studied with, like Azzam al-Adhal and Adil Turki and many others who have become, very successful in their lives. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Farouk. I hope that these friends that you mentioned will actually look in on the website of Aden College and watch what you and listen to what you have said.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much,
Dr. Case.